This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
What is up, dude?
I just about forgot to hit the show starter. I was ready for the hook set before we even started.
Before the show started.
Yeah, I was. The minute it went live, I was just going to set the hook. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to start the deal. So the guy said, set the hook. And then I set the hook. You know what I'm saying to you?
I got you.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so you guys had some weather there in Pierre. Ouch.
Yeah, in town got pretty nasty on Monday night. Just very sporadic spots of town. Walmart got it pretty hard. Downs Marina, the boat docks broke and slammed all the boats against shore. So you can't get out of Downs Marina right now because the boat docks are across the opening.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, no. So they had pulled all the boats and stuff like that. And then a bunch of cars got damaged. Paulie Steffen's excursion had debris land on top. It blew all the windows out. It caved the roof in on his excursion up at Walmart. So
really,
Josh Bible lost a tree in his front yard. So yeah, I got
100-mile-an-hour winds.
I counted every raindrop that fell in my yard at Spring Creek, and there was 7 that night. 7 and about a 15-mile-an-hour wind. So it completely missed us up here. The lightning show was gnarly. There was some wheat fields up north that started on fire. So that's right.
Yeah, and if they started on fire, they were ready for harvest then too. So
the wheat out here, if you look at it wrong, it's going to start on fire. But yeah, big week. I mean, I was trying to get stuff ready because we got the big week, Gov Cup this weekend. But before we get there, we got to talk about last weekend's with the Peters and what an accomplishment out of the Tom and Matt Hill tournament. So I'll bring them guys in. How we doing tonight?
Hello. I think we got a lock up right away.
There we go. So you guys are already up here at the Gov Cup. It's just got to Spring Creek in your cabin and getting ready for the Gov Cup. But you 3 had an incredible weekend last weekend. And is that your personal best fish, that 14-pounder, Darrell?
It was. Broke it by about 2 pounds.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those fish that it's personal best in a tournament, and tournament you get to fish with both your daughters. For those who don't know, Darrell fishes usually rotates with these 2 girls.
Yeah, right.
Unless it's a 3-person tournament, and I did talk to the one at Mobridge, and they said, I go, when are you guys going to fish the cup? And they said, when Mom and Dad win the couples division.
That's the plan. They want to get in on the father-daughter stuff because they know I got 2 father-son rings already, and Kadence just got her first ring in the Cabela's NTC. So Kyra's like, Mom, get out of the way so I can get in there.
There you go.
Yeah, if you don't hurry up and win that, the girls might just get their own boat and come out and compete against you.
I know it's good. The field's getting tougher and tougher and tougher every year, and it's I don't get down in this part of the reservoir and fish as often as I used to, so that gets tougher and tougher. With the boundaries, it limits a lot of the water you can fish, so it makes it tough when you don't get down in this area.
Yeah, because you guys got a cabin at South Whitlock, so you spend majority of your time that Whitlock's area, correct?
Yeah, I'd say more. I'd say north of Bush's Landing to all the way probably to the Morrow is where the majority of the time we spend.
Yeah.
For don't tell anybody about in between or anything. Just make it a big long stretch of river because there's some secret spots there that people just don't need to know about, right? I mean,
right.
And for those people will sit there and look for Dewey, they look for you, they look for a bunch of guys, and of course then they slide in, but not everybody can do the scoping thing. I mean, it really takes something special.
It's getting harder to hide anymore. I mean, I even try to tip my wheelchair upside down in the boat and they still see me. So,
wheels up.
You always get the two guys that drive by and then quick turn to each other and go, it's one of them things like that's like, damn it. But it is what it is. It's still fun. I don't think there's any spots anymore. There's too good a mapping out there.
Yeah, and that's the truth. If you've got a dock sonar chip, there's nothing hiding, right? No, I mean, nothing going back to, what is it, 1946 or something. I mean, everything that was at the bottom of that river is still on the map on that Dr. Sonar chip, and I don't care if it's a tree, a shrub, a bush, whatever. It's there.
I mean, Garmin's becoming super popular with their live scope system, and bottom line is, with Doc Sonar, you still have double RANs in your boat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's very true. You have to have the RANs if you're going to use that. Talk about the Garmin. You guys are like a guy like me. I'm using the Echo Map, the Eco Map 93, and and that's all well and good. But for guys like you and Tom Wynn, you have moved up to the 86 series. Things are a lot tighter. Tom always talks about the fact that it has more power. I think it has more pixels. The Echo Map's got pixels this big, and the 86 series has maybe 4 pixels for every one of the Eco Map, and it is just a clear unit.
Yeah, with the pixel rate, it's kind of like comparing like 4K HD to like SD almost.
Yeah, there you go.
Comparison, because when you look at them side by side, it's crazy, the crispness, the clearness of what you see. I mean, on that 8600 series, you can almost, on them giant walls, you can see an eyeball on them. The dark spot where their eyeball is. Obviously the positions they're sitting in, the tail and head and fin, and between the difference of the catfish and a northern and the crazy thing is when we're down in Pickstown watching all the paddlefish, you can see their bills plain as day, sure, swimming through the water column. And my daughter, and you can see they're 5 feet long under the water. It's insane. And we were chasing them around with the live scope just because we don't see the paddlefish up here. Like down in Pickstown, every place you stop, there's paddlefish.
Yeah. Okay. I think he unlocked a little bit there. Are the girls mad? Kadence Kyra, you don't want to talk? Are you mad or
We're a little tired. We've been fighting the wind the last couple of days. So.
Okay.
And some rain today.
So, yeah, you girls get to fish with Dad quite a bit, and you guys, I've watched you since you were youngsters doing this stuff, and now you're off in college and growing up and doing the whole thing. You guys go up to the Tom Hill tournament, and you guys have fished that since it went to Whitlocks, I'm sure. But how long you guys been fishing that tournament?
5 years. This is their 5th.
The 5th year, and this is the first W in it.
Yep.
So
yeah, how do you make that W thing with your hand? Forget it. I was going to try to be cool, but then I'm like, yeah, no, that's not the W thing. Whatever. Right? So it was interesting when. You guys are 6, 7, 8 trailers down from me. I think the first year you guys fished the Hill tournament, Louie and I and Pam were down there, and you were getting your dad in your boat. And I'm like, hey, Darrell, you need some help? Nope, the girls got it. And so at the time, you guys were what, 14? Right?
Yeah,
what
are you around there?
Yeah. So all right. So
yeah,
you're younger. Okay. So you two are going to get your dad in the boat. And your dad's like, just watch, and boom. I mean, it was amazing. You guys, you have, this whole family dynamic that you guys have going on here is pretty amazing when it comes all the way down to you two getting your dad in the boat. Now, does Heather, does she back you guys in and all 3 of you are just off and running, or who gets to? Okay. So how does that go then?
It kind of depends on the day, but usually he backs the boat down most of the way, and then I'll get him in the boat, and she'll back down the rest of the way, and then we'll go pick her up from the dock.
Oh, so that works.
And I will tell you, they are way faster than most people in the Governor's Cup getting the boat in. I never have to worry about Darrell getting in the water. It's like boom, 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 and they're in and they're gone. And I'm like, there's guys over there that are taking twice as long. I'm like, Jesus, Darrell just flies in and out of here, guys. Learn from him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if Darrell can do it and the girls can do it, then come on, you know. Darrell, get into your past a little bit. I'll pop up a picture from the past and talk. I think this was FLW stuff back when the National Guard was sponsoring. I think you had a great Oahe tournament back then, and you won it, right?
No, I top 10 a couple of them at FLWs on Oahe. I was leading one of them after the first day. I was that picture. I was leading it, yeah. And another FLW, I was second after day one. So I slowly collapsed in the following days. But I got my glory of leading one day of an FLW tournament anyway.
And Darrell, you've been doing this. How long you been fishing the tournament series and doing that kind of stuff?
Oh, I think I got into it probably in around 2010. I was, before Terry Nelson bought West Prairie, I was staying there about every other weekend, and then when Terry bought it, I was staying there, you know, I dispatched it, so I had like a week on, week off, and that week off, me and some fellow deputies ran out and we stayed at Terry's place, and Terry's like, "You're here so often, why don't you just start guiding for me? I'll buy a trailer." And so I ended up buying a trailer house, moving into Terry's, and guided. And then I started guiding, stayed there all summer, just started guiding for Terry, and then watching Terry and him and his brothers fish tournaments, and Terry being successful kind of got me excited to do it, and they all talked me into doing it. And then I kind of started with, you know, the local Hawaii tournaments and getting into the Governor's Cup and dabbling there, and that just kind of led to basically traveling the Midwest for the Masters Walleye Circuit and some FLW stuff. So
let me ask this: when you got second in the FLW, were you second behind Terry the year he won it?
No, I did not fish it the year Terry won it. I think Terry won it around like 2004, 2005. So I kind of got in about 5 years after that. So
it's quite a bit before that, yeah. So there's definitely, I know Darrell knows the bay. There's a bay up in the Cheyenne area, up in the Bush area, that we call FLW, because that's where Terry won the FLW.
Yep.
So that's some secret guide lingo from the West Prairie guys. FLW is the bay Terry won FLW on, the point. So
Yep.
But yeah, I forgot that his was that long before. I thought it was about the same time you started, but it was quite a few years prior to you getting into them.
Yeah. Admiring all his hardware and trophies from all the stuff he was winning, and talking and chatting with him, and you know, that kind of drove I've always been competitive my whole life through wheelchair basketball. I made the Paralympic team, and then that went on to, you know, from anywhere from playing darts in college and pool tournaments, and, you know, and then I played traveling basketball until I was probably about 30. So the competitive nature just kind of flowed into fishing, and then that kind of went into tournament fishing. So just the competitive drive hasn't stopped. I guess that's how it is. I feel like I'm getting too old to do this stuff, but now the girls got the same drive through after playing in sports all through high school, and they're pushing me. You know, we got to do 7-8 tournaments this year, and I'm just like, oh, geez, I'm already past the torch now and let them guys do it. So
yeah, right. So girls, are you going to end up in Dad's boat by yourself, or are you always going to just fish with Dad? And seriously, how do you, heads or tails? How do you pick who's fishing next?
Well, right now we need gas money, so we need him in the boat. But after that, she'll probably get the next NTC because I fished this last one. We just kind of trade off every other.
Well, they just announced that Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I saw today.
Long drive.
Long drive for the NTC for next year, but yeah. So girls, you girls started fishing. I mean, tournaments win for you guys. Do you remember your first one?
We won our first one when we were 11.
Okay, tell us about it. Okay, what's the story there?
We were like 11, but I don't even remember.
We entered the South Dakota Walleye Classic as a 3-person team tournament when they were 11 years old, and we ended up pulling out the win on that tournament the first time we fished it. So
was that the first time you guys fished as a team, all three together, and was that the hook that set like you? That was the time that this is over.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
After that tournament, they were like, winning's easy. We need to fish all these other tournaments. This is fun. And 8 years later, they got their second win, so we found out how easy it is.
So the humble pie came out pretty quick.
Right on.
I think we went about from. I think we won the South Dakota Walleye Classic, and the next year we're probably last in the South Dakota Classic. So,
we're first to worst.
You get the humble pie.
Well, but it's that way for everybody. I mean, I don't care who. Look at Corey Springle. Angler of the year. Boom. Just kind of been, nothing since. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it really, this tournament stuff just ebbs and flows. You're good, you're bad, you've got luck, you don't have luck. I guess, from your perspective, you've been doing it for quite some time. Now you get a win. Even if you get a win on a local level, it still has to build up confidence for the next Masters Walleye Circuit or National Walleye Tour event that you fish, right?
Of course, everything builds up a little confidence, and especially, when you think you know what you see in it on the live scope, and then when it works out, it's gratifying that I knew that was a big fish, or you knew what you're looking for. Especially like during the last tournament when you got multiple boats around you and you guys are jockeying for position, and you're kind of leapfrogging each other, basically trying to be the first guy to the next set of trees or whatever, and we were bouncing around trying to get ahead of everyone else, and then trying to, like when you're out just messing around, you're kind of live scoping the breaks and the shorelines and the points and the trees real at a slow pace. Well, you get into a tournament when there's other people around. I'm going on 8 or 9 on my trolling motor at 2.5 mile an hour, trying to find the fish before someone else does, and then you lock the brakes up when you see one and you're pitching out. And it worked out in the last tournament where I was setting my zone at like 100 to 120 feet ahead of me, and I was driving at close to 2.8 mile an hour. And when I'd see what I thought was a big fish ahead of me, I would basically hit spot lock and stop, and then we have a live scope up front, and the girls would zoom in on that fish and pitch ahead because I'd have them within 30, 40 feet. So they caught the first 6 overs of the day on the last tournament, and they all were from 6 to 9 pounds, and we released them all because we said that we needed over 20 pounds in overs to win this tournament, and our first one in the box had to be double digits. And our 7th over, just so happened I was stopping the boat for them to cast, but I was going so fast in the last one, I spotted 3 big fish, and when I hit the brakes, the boat kind of surged past the fish. And when I looked down my live scope, I was like, they're right below me. So I just free-spooled my jigging rack straight down and jigged it once, and the second jig it was on. And like I said, I didn't realize it was that big a fish when it got up, but when they netted that fish and got it in the boat, I'm like, well, that's at least 12 pounds. We're keeping that one. And the other two fish that was with this one, we're still swimming around down there. So I grabbed Cadence's rod and I said, "You guys take care of that fish. I'm gonna try to get one of the other ones." And while I was chasing the other fish down, they put it on scale and they're like, "Dad, it weighs 14 pounds, 10 ounces on our scale." And it startled me so bad I stopped looking for the other fish, and I turned around and I was like, "You better reweigh that. That can't be right. That can't be right. And they reweighed it, and they're like, it's 14 pounds 10 ounces on. And at that point, they dropped the fish, and they both come at me, and they both grab me and bear hug me and start screaming so loud that I think every boat in the upper Hawaii had heard it, and they're jumping up dancing.
I was going to ask if it was cool because other boats were around you, or if it was all out, just everything came out.
No, hell no. We won, right?
It went from screaming to tears to jumping in the boat to, I'm like, hey, we got one of 6 fish. We got to get going here. You know. So,
yeah, that's true. You can't win it with one big fish. Yeah.
So then at that point, I looked at Kadence, who had caught the 9-pounder earlier, and I'm like, I kind of wish we had kept that 9-pounder now because we had what we wanted. And so it took about another hour, and then I spotted another fish, and Kadence pitched out to it and smacked it. And it was a 9.5-pounder. And when we got that in the boat, it was like, okay, we got to go get our slapfish now because they were sitting at 12:30 with, close to 25 pounds and 2 fish. We got to get something with it. And it took everything we had because that late in the day, everything had kind of shut down at that time. So we went to ran to 4 spots looking for any kind of slotfish. We baited, we pulled crank shallow, we were pitching jigging wraps. All we caught was catfish and drum and northerns. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? So at 1:45, we knew we had to take off running by 2:30 to get in. And at 1:45, we went and dropped some crankbaits deep on some snap weights with some lead core. We went out 35, 40 foot on some bait, and we trolled on the shoreline, and lo and behold, we got a 17, a 16, and 2 15.5s, and everything was all tangled up on our last fish. We threw it on the floor, and we were running 61 all the way in, and we made it in 4 minutes spare. So it wasn't like it was an easy day after getting 2 fish. And we only won the tournament by 1.5 pounds, so that last 17.5 incher was a pretty crucial fish.
Well, I'll tell you that years ago in the fishing crew, Tim Pather, we had the West Shore boat ramp. He pulled out, went to Peoria, and 7:30 had a 12-pounder in the boat. And the story went, his wife hooked on the cranking rod. He took the cranking rod out of her hand and reeled it in and said, if you miss this fish, we're getting a divorce. Netted it. But then he went full panic mode and drove all over the lower end of Lake Oahe and came in with 5 or 4 other fish that barely touched 15 inches. And he ended up in second place, but he had a 12-pounder to start the day, and it completely spun him out. If he'd have just probably stayed his pattern, he'd have crushed everybody, but he panic mode and couldn't catch his slots. Barely caught him.
You know who was in first place, though, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, when we beat him, he wasn't happy.
Nelson, I believe, right?
It was Darren, Nelson, and I. We got first that tournament.
Yeah. Because he went to full. I literally launched the boats, went to the dock, dropped off my dad, and went up and started boat checking. And he was freaking out. I pulled up minutes after he did it, and I'm like, dude, you got 1 fish. Yes, it's the right fish, but you need 4. You need 5 more to go with it. You better get to work.
Tim reminds me about it every time I see him. So he got beat with a 12-pounder. So
yeah,
good for him. Yeah, right. So, girls, did you with that 14? We'll call it the 14.5-pounder. Did you think we got this thing sealed, or did you realize you still had fish to catch?
We realized we still had fish to catch. I had made a comment that we threw 6 back. That would have looked really nice next to that 14-pounder, but we made the decision early. But I kind of told him that 1 o'clock we need to go looking for slots, and it was 12:30, and we did.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just can't imagine catching a 14-pound walleye to start a tournament. I don't care what tournament it is. I don't care if I'm fishing against Kurt and Nate. I think I'd be more than spun out. I'd be done because I'm winning this thing. It's over. But there are more fish to catch, right?
Yeah, and I did a little pre-fishing on the Monday prior to the tournament. I didn't go looking for big fish past Monday, but Monday I caught like 6 over 10.5 pounds and like 2 over, like 2, I was like 12.8 and 12.10, and which were my previous probably big fish was that 12.10 I caught that week that we released them all. And I just got out of there and never went back until tournament day. And to go from, 12.5 to 14.5, that's a pretty good jump. So yeah, it was surprising and to happen. I mean, it was a special fish to happen during a tournament with my daughters. Like I said before, it's just a special time, special fish, and a special tournament too. The Tom Mandel tournament's a pretty special tournament itself. So it's an 80 boat tournament with some tough sticks that fish in that area. So it's not like it's a slack old tournament that anyone could win. It's
right. It's tougher and tougher every year.
Well, like you said, you caught a 14 pounder and you won by like a pound. So your 17-inch fish mattered. I mean, nobody else had a 14 pounder, but they had a good, you weighed 30 pounds for your fish. And so that's telling you something. I mean, it's not a slouch tournament at all.
Yeah, there's multiple teams that had over 20 pounds just in overs. So it wasn't just us.
Well, it's not like Lake Oahe isn't kicking out a bunch of monsters right now, no matter where you're at, whether you're up in the Morrow or Buffalo Skin or the islands or wherever. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It's amazing. And I see a lot of people, when they see pictures like a picture of you holding that 14-pound fish or whoever it is, a lot of keyboard guys that are they're pissed off because it's like you're going to kill that fishery. But I have a feeling, in talking to a lot of guys that are out there like you are, there are so many out there that it's going to be hard to catch them all.
Yeah. I mean, it's an unknown. Everyone's got an opinion on it. I don't go just because there's no reason to, but I guess I don't like to see them when people are cutting them up. That's, people catch them, release them is one thing, but I know last fall, like I was out here in October, November, and we were catching a bunch of big fish, and then you come into Bob's and look in the dumpster and there's 30, 40 walleyes in there that are 30 inches all flayed out. And it's like, what are you getting? And you see people on Facebook, that caught them and kept them and cut them up. And it's just, I don't say anything, but it's kind of sad to see that part of it. But the fish are 25 years old and people are putting knives to them. I don't think they even realize what they're doing, but it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
It hurts the gut.
I mean, if you look down here, you guys got down here for the first day today. I don't know how well your practice went, but this system down here is stocked full of 19 3/4 to 24-inch fish. I've talked to so many guys this week, and they're like, there's so many 19 to 24-inch fish. It's insane. Remember, like last year, they were all 17 to 19-inch fish. Well, them same fish are now hitting that 24-inch mark. And, we got about almost just shy of a 2-inch growth rate in a year, on the system. I mean, we have bait, and I'm sure you guys saw bait everywhere you went today. I heard a bug hatch happen on the south end for sure in the last week. So we got plenty of bait for these fish in the system. They're going to continue to grow. We got a lot of fish in the system. We always need to keep stocking and keep doing the things, but there's plenty of fish out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no problem finding fish out here. I'm finding it a bigger problem. Keep coaxing them to bite just because of the amount of bait and the bug hatch going on. It's not the easiest thing to come down here and catch these fish right now. From my 2 days of practice down here, these fish are fat, they're full. They don't seem to be wanting to chase them chicken wraps down here like they are up north for whatever reason, or plastics or anything. You got to slow things down up here, go small, and we've been catching plenty of fish. Catching the right ones right now, that's always the problem. You need to find the right ones to win a tournament.
Yeah.
And with with this tournament having the boundaries it has, I think there's an advantage to the South Lake fishermen, obviously, that fish down here. They know the secret spots and hiding spots of the people that don't get to fish down here very much. So this fishery is so diverse. You come from here to Pollock to the mid lake. Everything has its little nuance of what works and what doesn't work, and you got to figure them out, and you got limited time to do it.
Well, you talk to even the biologists, and they still tell you that, northern Lake Oahe, call it the 212 area north, is almost like a completely different body of water than the southern end of Lake Oahe. There's different structure, there's different bait, there's different everything in the system. And they're like, so it makes it really interesting to manage a system because you think it's all one, but it acts like two.
It is. It's crazy the differences of techniques and colors and sizes. I mean, everything makes such a difference. When even loading the boat to come down here, it's like pack everything because I don't know what I'm going to be doing. And you come down here with lures on your rod that were working up north, and you're like cutting them off, going, that ain't working down here. So it's crazy.
So weird. It is. Even last year, I fished with Kurt and Josh Bible, and that's the first time that I'd fished down where we were. I fished up by the dam, and the cut bank there, but to fish that lake like that just was so different from fishing the Whitlock area. It surprised the crap out of me.
Yeah, it is, and I'm familiar most with basically the Cheyenne of Bush's Landing from guiding for 10 years with Terry. I mean, we basically from maybe Fantasy Island North is where we concentrate on. So when I go look at my graph and all my waypoints and from guiding, that's kind of where I concentrate on fishing. Now, my success in the Governor's Cup depends on what quality of fish are in them areas, because I'm not really straying from them areas much just because that's what I know. Now, I'll spend a couple days each year exploring more things on the south end, and but now this year I come down here with the water, 10 feet lower than last year, and go look at Peoria Flats and Salt Lake Flats and things. My FLW tournaments that I did well on would come out Peoria Flats. Well, all my icons are out of water, so they don't do me no good. Now you come down here and like, I've never been down here with water this low in this part of the reservoir, so everything's new down here. Everything changes day by day. Wind changes, blows dirty water here, clear water there. It's just every day you go hunting for the right spot because it's different every day.
Yeah. So Kadence and Kyra, do you guys help strategize? Do you get into it with Dad at home? What color are we going to try? What are we going to do? Or are you geeky fisher girls? Or do you just go along for the ride and you just do the fishing?
It kind of started down in Fixtown where we weren't catching much, and so I started cutting things off and retying, and he's like, I've never caught anything on that. And I was like, fine, I will. And then I started catching them, and I just kept cutting and retying. So my kind of job is to find like a new lure that works. They kind of stick with the ones we know that work, and my job is like find what else works. And so we definitely are part of the strategy and trying to figure it out. But for the most part, they keep the same lures, and I'm like the one trying to figure out what's next.
So that's what makes the family dynamic work. I like it.
Yeah, I'll find that. I'll put what I want on, and I'll try and catch. Some days I go zero, but I'm going to try and catch a fish with that lure just to prove them wrong.
Well, honestly, out of spite, what the hell, right? I mean, really not such a bad thing. So do you, are you like, Kurt, I don't think Kurt sits in homes and thinks of colors and baits, and I do. I think about baits and things all the time. Do you think about that in your spare time? Like when you lay your head on the pillow, do you think, okay, we got to try, we haven't used a Smith wick, Rogue Perfect 10. We haven't used one of those for a couple of years. We got to try that. I mean, do you overthink it, or do you just fish?
Most of the time I just fish. I mean, we basically got the shields in our boat. We got everything what you would want. everything's there. So sometimes I go shopping and trying to figure out, oh, haven't seen this before, and I'll use that. So just kind of spur of the moment kind of thing.
I like it. So do you have favorite colors or color patterns that matter? Or can't you tell because it's a secret?
There's one lure that I use that we really worked in Pickstown, and it's worked pretty well up here, and I called it white chocolate because I didn't know the name for it. And whenever anybody would ask me what it was, I'd be like, oh, I'm using white chocolate. And so nobody knows 100% what it is, but it's white chocolate, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, it's your thing then, right? White chocolate.
She likes to come up with pet names for every lure she's got. So I don't even know if she's using that time.
I like the idea.
All I know is
just name it.
when tournament time comes, and I see her have something dumb on her lap, I'm like, get that off and put something normal. And then she's like, oh, I was going to try something new. And I'm like, now ain't the time.
Okay. Once a dad, always a dad.
You got
but
it.
She did dig out some lures that I probably would have never tried down in Pickstown, and we ended up using them in the tournament to get to the top 25. So I got to give her the credit there. She did dig out two lures that I never would have put on. I don't know why I bought them, but now we have to get more. So not only did they work, but it cost me $500 to buy more. So.
Oh,
And now we found out they do work on Hawaii also. So.
Yeah. I keep that secret to yourself then, right?
Sometimes we get, you hear the rumors, you got to have bluegill colored jig wrap, you got to have purple, you got to have this, and I'm like, how many people are throwing the bluegill jig wrap? So let's try a pink one. Let's try it, and there's colors I buy and I never use. Like, I think we all do that. We buy them at the store. We're like, well, that one ain't ever coming out of the box. But to have somebody that's going to just try everything in the box is awesome. Too bad the girls aren't fishing the Gov Cup. You could bring your squid bait you made last year that nobody would use.
Hey, here's the deal. I will be in Pier Friday, right? And I'm not leaving until I go to Mobridge. And that's the crazy, it hurts. All this stuff I put up 6 weeks ago, it's all coming down because I'm moving out to the river. But you don't think that I'm not going to I pulled the squids out the other day and thought, now, can I talk Nick Harrington into letting me use these a little bit? And we'll see if he lets me do it. Because here's the thing, I'm catching a fish. I'm going to use one of those damn things to catch one off the trees. And I hope it's 12-pounder. Just to say I caught one off a squid.
Hey, Bob Prop Sr., I've told the story 100 times. We took him ice fishing, and he put a piece of baked potato tinfoil on his jig with a minnow, and the fish on the underwater camera hit the tinfoil and left the minnow. So, I mean, I've seen weirder stuff, so you got to try weird things. That's what works. That's why we have different baits, is because people experiment, and it's a great thing to have. So, girls, we talked a lot about forward-facing sonar. Are you teaching Dad things about it, or is he just teaching you what to do? You're in that younger generation where the computers are easy for you guys.
We definitely have better eyes, and I can see a lot better fish, but he still got the little tips and tricks that help us all out. So it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff, the younger generation just understands it.
We got better eyes to see things, but they don't have the knowledge or experience of how to get them to bite, so they still need me.
Well, that's going to be the interesting part. I mean, growing up with my dad, like when I started fishing, got my own boat, like I never ran the trolling motor. He always did. So I had to I knew how to catch fish, but I didn't know how to run the boat. Like I knew how to drive a boat, but I didn't know how to run a trolling motor. So I'm like, I got to figure this out. So there's them nuances when you take that leap to go on your own. When, your dad always does it like my dad did. It's like, okay, now I got to learn this crap. How did he do that? So I think you still have a leg up when they do go on their own.
The first time I ever pulled a snap weight and 30 to 40 feet of water on Lake Hawaii, trolled for fish, was with Dave Underhill and Lauren Miner. And Dave Underhill showed me how to do it during a tournament. And we should have won the tournament. I think we got second place, but there was too many beers going around the boat, and too many fish got stabbed in the head with the net and ripped off at the back of the boat. But other than that, we had caught some dynamic fish that day, and we'd never done it before. And that day I learned and never looked back, I guess.
I guess I cut out. I missed the first day snap weight story, but I'll go back and watch it because I bet you I missed part of that. I need you to tell it again. But yeah, I mean, you got to learn. And like I said, I was always the guy putting the snap weight on. I was always the guy putting the rods out. I knew all that stuff, but running that boat was not my thing. I was in the back of the boat doing my thing. So yeah, you still got some time when they do get their own boat and they graduate college and get good jobs. They can buy their own boat, and then you're still got a little advantage on them for a while.
Yeah, they said after the South Dakota Walleye Classic that they want me to dump them in the lake, and so they can go out and put the trolling motor down and go out in the middle of the lake and just learn how to turn and follow things and look for things. And I'm like, go ahead anytime you want. So they got to learn to build. They got to learn how to unload the boat, drive it on and off the trailer, and run the trolling motor. They're okay with driving the boat, but they won't. They're scared to do things like approach docks and stuff. But it's things they got to do to learn. It's one of the things that you got to do it to learn it. You can't always sit and watch it. So.
Yeah. You got to fish. You got to fish it all, and you got to do everything. So, Darrell, I'm glad I looked at my phone because I wasn't going to do it because I usually don't check it during the show, but I am glad that I got what I got. So check this. This is chronologically backwards. Here's last weekend. Okay, so it's Dad with the 2 girls and the 2 big fish, but this is awesome. Look at that. That's Dad with the girls. So 2 years old, 3 years old.
Probably. They started out. They were in the boat in their little car seats. They were in car seats in the boat to start, and then and they graduated to standing and walking and sitting in the live well like it was a bathtub while I fished and playing with the fish in the live well, pulling them out, and throwing them for, So eventually they caught on to wanting to reel them in and catch them, and then once that bug hit them, I didn't get a real many fishing, so I just was setting the hook and handing them rods.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a fun trip back right there.
I started about the same time. My dad had me in a car seat at 18 months old, and he had the neighbor lady sew a life jacket around the outside of the car seat. And then him and his buddy put a baby doll in there, went to the lake and threw it in the water until it flipped upright, until they had it weighted right. Then they put the metal rake clasp in the bottom of the boat, and he'd snap my car seat into it. And that's where I sat. And then I started playing with Hot Wheels, and then I launched them all in the water one day, and he's like, well, you're going to fish now. And he handed me a rod. And I was probably about the same age, and I started fishing. And in that moment, I never looked back. So I get the thing. I don't ever remember playing in the live well, but we had a tiller boat, and the live well was right where my dad sat. So I didn't get the opportunity to play in the live well. Kind of missed that part of my childhood. I'm a little sad now.
Right.
I feel bad. My dad always made me light his cigarettes when I was 2. So I'm pretty good at it now, though. Just teasing. He's not with us anymore. The expense, a joke at Dad's expense there. I shouldn't have done that. But so, girls, so when you're out fishing, are you bringing the sour cream and raisin bars and all that good bacon stuff, or is that just something Louis gets because he's such a nice guy?
Those are usually breakfast before we go on the boat. But yeah, Louis usually gets a pan. He helps us out a lot. Pam usually gets a few out of the pan, but just kind of a thank you there. But usually breakfast before we go, and he eats it with coffee.
Okay, yeah. So what is the? We got a big long one here. Signed in a little late. That's Jeff from Wheelchairs and Walleyes. Look at there. Like to invite Darrell to speak at one of the events. He's been an inspiration to the cause. So that's very true. Darrell, there you go. I guess there's an open invite. You guys will have to connect, and we know how to connect you to him, unless maybe you know Jeff already.
I don't know him, but I've heard a little bit about the wheelchairs and walleyes and about what he's doing, a little bit about what they're doing at boat ramps. I think it's a pretty cool deal what he's doing. I heard about him through Josh Bible, but Josh was making some rods for him or something. And Josh had called me about it, and but yeah, I should get in touch with them and see what they're all about, because it looks like it's a good thing. And someday what they're doing, I may need to get in and out of the boat. So older I get, I might need one of them.
Right. Well, it's interesting when you start talking to Jeff and you start paying attention to the projects they're doing, the massive number of people who are all about it, and who have either children or family members or friends that want to fish, that haven't been able to, that just can't get into a boat and a candy bar. And and so now all of a sudden you're getting some places, and they're going from here to New York to Beulah Bay to, I think, Fort Peck. I mean, this stuff's popping up everywhere, and it's going to make it a whole lot easier for people to get out and go fishing.
Yeah, from what the little I've seen about it and heard about it, I've heard it from half a dozen different sources now, that from different parts of the Midwest, that so it's traveling. People are hearing about it and people are seeing it, and I get messages of, have you seen this, have you seen that, and I'm like, all I can say is I heard a little bit about it, but I'd like to learn a lot more about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, no doubt. Girls, what's the favorite part of fishing with Dad besides winning?
Just the memories. I mean, that Monday I was with him in that boat, and I've never netted that many over 10. I stopped fishing. I just wanted to watch. I was like, I could just hear the hook set. I looked at the live scope and I was like, yeah, that's over 10. I've never netted that many over 10 in one day. It was really cool.
And that's something. It just goes to show you how good a wah he is, right?
Yeah.
I think it's also the good times that we have together. We are always playing music and having fun while we're fishing, so it just makes it a better time.
So what kind of music are you playing?
She plays a bunch of different music.
Yeah, we got a lot of genres going. We'll play Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Tim McGraw, goes Chris Stapleton, all of the above. I've got Apple Music, just keep picking new songs.
Yeah.
So I figured this out. You two on the outsides are all about the fish, and you're just about the party and figuring new things out.
It's fun. I mean, I've always said I'm what makes the boat float. Like, someone's got to have fun with me.
I love it. Yeah, that's good.
I'm not saying you're not about the fishing, but the two on the outside are the serious ones, and you're just like, you know what? We're going to have some music, and I'm going to try new lures.
Yeah, those 10-hour days get long, and sometimes you need something to break it up, so that's what I'm there for. I mean, I still caught a lot of fish, but I'm going to be laughing and happy while I do it.
Well, you got to have fun. You got to. And the crazy thing is, summer's going really, really fast here. You're enrolled at SDSU, right?
Yep. We'll go back to August 22nd.
Okay. So, yep. So you go back and I leave for the first time in 34 years. That's going to be really weird. But I'm going to tell you, just to be at South Whitlock every weekend in August, September, and October, and however late, I'm pretty excited about it.
So, on to the Gov Cup. I know, girls, you're not fishing. Dad's fishing with Mom. Darrell, what are you expecting for the Gov Cup this coming weekend? If you had to predict, what do you think our weights are going to be? And
well, with the last couple of days, or even today, we probably caught. I'm going to say we caught 6 to 8 19-inch slot fish that were 212 to 32. So my guess, Governor's Cup fishing is always easiest prior to the Governor's Cup. And everyone has everyone's catching fish. Everyone's having fun, and everyone's like, "Oh, the weights are going to be massive," and then shit hits the fan the night before we get back to that.
I want to say that.
The Gov
so everyone's predicting probably big weights, and they're because of these 3-pound 19s that are out there. But I'm betting money these 3-pound 19s disappear, and they disappear fast. And the guys, there's still going to be 10 teams that get them. They always do. I would say last year 2 teams broke 40. I don't know if 2 teams have broke 40 ever. I don't know if I remember seeing 2 teams break 40. So my guess is there'll be 3 teams that break 40 again. I would probably say I'm gonna say 20 or 43 pounds will win the tournament probably.
See, I've been picking about 45, but we did have. I mean, we went from 90 degrees yesterday to I think it was 50 when I woke up this morning. So I mean, we had a definite temperature change. It's going to go up a little bit for the weekend. And for some reason, we had lightning on Monday. Lightning on Lake Oahe really affects these fish. You wouldn't think in such a deep reservoir how bad it affects these fish. So we're kind of going through a different temperature swings. Chasen probably knows the pressure on every second of every day because he's a pressure man. But I mean, yeah, it's funny because I was saying this earlier. I've said this about a bunch of people. Coming into June, everybody's like, "Oh, the lake's 2 to 3 weeks behind. The lake's 2 to 3 weeks behind where it should be." I hear that all the time, every couple of years, and magically the Gov Cup, the lake gets to right where it's supposed to be, like Wednesday, Thursday before the Gov Cup. So
I just see a lot of fish out there, and 200 boats sore lipping them, and these fish can't get away with the boundaries. They're not getting out of the boundaries. So the only thing they're going to do is go deep because of the pressure and the key guys that figure that where they go to Saturday after being beat on for 5 days is, them are the guys that do well. And so the catch ratio is going to go down for everyone. So that's just what happens.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see 100 fish days for many teams. I mean, you're not going to see that, but I think we're going to see some big weights. I've told a lot of people there's a lot of 4-pound, 20-some inch fish in the system. Guys are going to keep them, and they're going to lose the tournament. There's going to be other guys that throw them back and lose the tournament. I mean, so it's just kind of that weight of fish. There's definitely bigger ones out here, a lot bigger ones.
I can see teams coming in with 17 pounds with slot fish this year. So a guy adds 2 5-pounders with that, you're in 22, 23 pounds of fish right there alone. So I honestly don't think guys are going to need 8-pounders to win this tournament. I think with the slots, if a guy gets 2 5, 6-pounders a day with 19-inch fish, I think you're going to hit that 45 mark easy. So going after, if a guy gets lucky and gets 8-pounders, obviously you don't need the 19s to get to where you need to be, but 5-pounders and 19s right now is going to get you in the low 20s, and you do that twice a day, you're probably going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 200 teams going out Saturday morning, and then 9 o'clock, we got 150 kids hitting the bay to win about $25,000 in prizes. We've been working on that pretty heavy over the last couple of weeks, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see those youngsters fish that bay. And I can't wait to see the weights that come in every day. It's my favorite weekend of the year. I can't wait for this. I tell everybody I cannot wait for the Gov Cup to get here, but the week prior, I can't wait for the Gov Cup to be over at the same time. So,
right.
The girls are volunteering for the
so. Yeah, I know Travis said that. He said we got a couple volunteers and they might know how to fish. He told me. He told me who it was. I said, "Oh, we're in good hands." So
that's good.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys on. Congratulations on the second win in 8 years. Let's try not to go that far between the next one, okay? Are you guys?
Yeah, thank you. Big shout out to Heather too, to Mom. You know, she's sharing you guys. Is she with you down there, or is she back home?
No, we got to do all the pre-fishing, and she just shows up for the tournament. So it's our job to find the fish. So she says, make it easy for me to catch them, and she don't live scope. So
there we go.
So if I live scope during this tournament, she's just going to sit with the net and watch. So that's the way that works. But she loves the bait, and she loves to pull cranks, and it might just be the kickback, laid back tournament of, and cranking and baiting's working right now. So it's is it going to beat the big dogs at live scope? Probably not. But you know what? You don't got to beat everyone to have a good tournament every tournament. So
are you guys going to go fish the AFCO deal?
We are. Yeah. We're doing that. We're doing that with the whole family. So she is going to have to learn the live scope for that.
Yeah.
So because everyone has to catch their own fish. So
I know you're really happy that you caught the 14-pounder during the Hill tournament, but are you kind of bummed that you didn't do it during the AFCO tournament?
Yeah. I was talking to Chad Schilling at the boat ramp tonight, and I was kind of like, a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, that tournament or that fish would have been worth $10,000. So or possibly worth $10,000. So I would have loved to have caught that fish in the spring full of eggs, because I think Keith's record would have probably went down with that one.
Yep. It might have been by a few ounces, because it was 33 inches long, right?
Just under 33. Yeah.
Okay.
But add 3-4 pounds of eggs to that fish, and that's gonna easily break that 17 mark. So, but that would have been a big girl in the spring.
So
how did you do?
I've heard from biologists they carry about 4 to 5 pounds of eggs usually. So I mean, you look at that, you're at 18 to 19 pounds on that fish.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's not the only one swimming around about that size. So
nope, got to find her this October.
I was surprised that this time of year I would expect fish that caliber to be in 70 feet of water, not 35. So it was pretty surprising.
Well, maybe that's a good thing,
because you don't see that giant of a fish that shallow this time of year. They're generally deep, gone.
Well, if you see the 30 inchers on Facebook pages, they're pretty thin, right? They're pretty skinny. But that one was a good looking fish. You could tell it was a little lighter. You could tell it was summertime, but gorgeous fish.
Yeah. There was a lot of people wanting to look at her on ice in my live well. So there's a lot of people climbing in and out of my boat to look at that one after the tournament.
And I'm guessing that one's hanging on the wall. Then a skin mount, or you're doing a skin mount or replica?
No, it's going to be a skin mount. It's going directly to Humboldt, the Travis texted me.
Okay.
Well, just drive it over to his house right across by the lighthouse. Just drop it off there. He's right. He'll be here. He's fishing this weekend, so
I should have him come just pick it up after.
Take it home.
Yep.
Good idea. Fantastic.
Well, good luck, Darrell, this weekend. Congratulations, girls. Congratulations to all you guys. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
Nope.
Because we're going to keep this thing going, and we'll be watching you guys. And good luck out there. And go find some bait fish for Mom. Don't make her just sit and watch Dad jig wrap all weekend, because I could just hear her now.
Will do. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Hey, good luck to you guys. We'll see you Friday night in Pier.
All right. Thanks.
See you guys.